Now, Miles, we are classic Melburnians in love with our AFL footy, our cricket. That may not be all over the EPL and A-League as much as we should be.
We can't be across everything, Arch.
No, we can't be. But whenever there is a mention of Socceroos and Australia being represented on the international stage, there's just an extra level of excitement and passion and motivation to get behind the Socceroos. That's hard to replicate in any other sport. And if you look at the playing history of the Socceroos, there's probably two names that spring to mind straight away for the average Australian.
Yep.
That being Tim Cahill and Harry Kewell.
Yep.
And today we are lucky enough to be joined by one of them. Who have we got?
We have Harry Kewell in the house, mate. Thank you for joining us. We're extremely excited.
Thank you guys for having me.
Now,
that was actually a lovely intro.
Oh, thanks,
Appreciate
mate.
that.
We want to try and make our guests feel nice and warm, mate.
I did. I was actually surprised, even though you are from Melbourne. You talked about all the other sports, but you bigged us up. I loved it. Thank you.
That's exactly.
We did pick it up.
Start low, finish on a high, mate. That's how we do it.
Now, Harry, I'm not too sure if you're familiar with our work, what we do. Basically, we rip off commentary lines and post it on our social media, our TikTok, our Instagram. Has it made it across to the UK? Have you seen any of it?
I'll stop you guys there. I'm not huge on social media.
That's all right.
I actually can't get my head around it. You know, even though I still feel young, I'm still very old fashioned. I still call people and talk to them instead of texting and all that. I do obviously follow social media. I do follow all the pictures and all that kind of stuff. And then when people do say, "Oh, follow someone or look at someone," I do look at it, but I don't very rarely go on social media. So I apologise for that.
That's fine, mate.
That's more than fine.
Now, what we do, we pretty much rip off commentators. Now, we've got a few EPL moments that blew up quite a bit. It was the Aguero moment.
Yep,
it was Deeney, and what else? There was one more.
So obviously the Aguero moment was when he scored.
Yep.
Was when Watford got promoted.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what's the last one? Because I remember...
it was Salah. It was one of Salah's goals.
Salah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mohamed
Salah.
There was quite a few of those moments, so I don't know which one of that one is.
Yeah,
but I definitely know the other two.
What moment are you taking out of the two? Are you taking Deeney or are you taking Aguero?
No, the Aguero. I remember where I was watching that game.
Yep.
And because my Jibril Cisse was playing for QPR at the time, and like Man City were playing all over them. They were up, and then all of a sudden QPR just went bang goal, and everyone was like, "Oh no, what's going on here?" And then they went goal again. It was like 2-1 down with only 10 minutes to go, and then I think it was Dzeko that scored with the header.
Yep.
And then that last minute, that how they built it up, and the way that Aguero actually took the ball past the last defender, I actually thought he was going to go down. Like, I reckon he could have went down to get a penalty as well. And more, but he didn't, and he set up, and it was one of the greatest moments in commentary history /
oh my God. He could have taken the easy way out and dived, but no, he wanted the glory and he finished the moment.
Well, he probably would have taken the penalty anyway.
Yeah, he probably would have. He probably would have. Probably wasn't the smartest decision from him in the end. Just go down, Aguero.
No, but I think it just goes to show what a great moment that was. So how did you guys do it? Did you?
Well, we choose moments based on how good they are and how good the commentary is as well. And Aguero had both. It was an unbelievable moment, and the Martin Tyler commentary, I believe it was just impeccable. So we sort of just recreate that in our room here, try and
same background,
match the atmosphere, same background, and it seems to pull off on social media. So yeah, quick update for you there, Harry. That's what we do. So
now we're going to do a quick thanks to FIFA and obviously their new World Cup mode that's come out. Obviously,
it's exciting.
They've been able to set up this interview for us here, so it's exciting stuff. What's happening over there with FIFA23? Obviously, the new free World Cup mode expansion is out for players to get into the spirit of the World Cup. And, you're going to be able to use players such as Harry Kewell and all these ex-World Cup heroes.
Exactly. Well, you're going to be able to relive the iconic World Cup moments.
Yeah.
So any moment that you remember from back in the day, you can go and play as that team, play as that player. Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Say there's a game that still haunts you, you still get nightmares out of it. You can go and change the score there, turn the tide. So, Harry, first of all, how does it feel to be in a video game?
I've been in video games before, especially at the start of my career. You get into the video games, and obviously all the FIFA games that you are part of because you're playing in the Premier League and the Premier League is a part of it. So you get to see that. But obviously, once you retire, you kind of feel that you drift away from that because they're always looking for the next exciting thing.
Yeah.
And I suppose what FIFA have done is to create, and just a little reminder of what the older players used to be like.
Yeah.
And what they did. And it's nice, I suppose, because there's a generation that plays the game. There's a generation of obviously 10-year-olds up to 15-year-olds that have a certain caliber of players. Then you go from 15 to 25 that are different players. And then from 25 to 35, even their players are different.
Yeah.
And they like to play with the older players, and they like to play with the players that they used to support as a young kid. So to be out of the game, and then it was an honor to actually, when we started speaking, that they wanted to bring me back in, and especially to bring my card back in and to be part of the World Cup, which was, it's fantastic. It means that you've done something in the game. So I was really proud of that moment. And I keep getting messages from friends, or my kids. They get messages from their friends going, "Oh my God, your dad's card's unbelievable." They've done a great job as well.
I was going to say, we just spoke to you. You said you were beating everyone in FIFA in the background before we hopped on the podcast here. Were you playing as yourself there? Would you play as yourself?
No, I'm not like that.
Come on.
I can't actually. I will eventually. But no. I was playing my little nephew and a few of the other people in the staff and all that. And no, I'll just play all of them because they're all great players anyway.
Yeah. And obviously you just said you'd play with your nephew. Do your kids get around it as well?
Yeah, my son's very big on it. He loves it. So he tries to challenge me, but now I've just got a little bit of confidence now. So I might go back when I get back to England. I might challenge him.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Exactly right.
Hey, what are your thoughts on your player card? Do you think you've been sold short in some areas?
Snubbed.
There's some elite areas there.
How are you comparing to the modern day players? Have you still got it, Harry?
I look. I would love to say yes, right? And
doesn't sound too confident.
my mind's still as sharp as it was. I can still see things a lot, but again, this generation of player is different to what I was. They are, like I said, they may be slimline. They look very thin and all that, but they are solid, very strong. Because back in the day, it was more a bit about bulk. And then it's like the whole athlete has changed down and stripped down to be more lean and mean, and but obviously still keep the strength side. When I look at my card, look, would I like to be 99s in all areas? Of course I would. I'm not going to be lying. I would be. Look, I think the pace is fair enough because I was a very quick player.
Yeah, just looking at it, 92 acceleration, 91 sprint speed. I think that's pretty fair. You were very quick back in the day.
Yep.
Looking over your highlights and stuff, you could just burn players like it was nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to argue a little bit, maybe that could have been up, 2 or 3. Because I was, like I said, over 20. There was not many people that could catch me. Dribbling wise, well, that's all I did. As soon as I got the ball, I never gave it away again. I just wanted to keep the ball and dribble and take on people. So I like that one. What was it? You got the passing. Well, I made my career on crossing and passing.
Yeah.
So the accuracy there, I was very good because I practiced every day.
Yeah.
The only one that I argue still with is the physical side. I don't get it because I was probably one of the strongest people there.
Strength rating is down, is it?
Yeah. Maybe it's because of all the injuries I had.
Yeah, I heard you were.
Maybe I was prone to being soft or something like that, but no, it was complete opposite. So that's the only one I argue with them about, but we laugh about it.
There was a few soft tissue injuries going around there, so that's the only possible explanation I can see. Is there any other ratings from your past Socceroo teammates that you might look at? And was there a bit of banter back in the day because FIFA was around, like ratings wise? Was there any locker room chat on player ratings? Is that something that was ever brought up?
It didn't go to the extent that it does now. When you see the players and they're always looking at their cards now and arguing, going, "How the hell is this?" And
it's just massive.
I'm not happy about it. It wasn't like that back in the day. It was like literally, they didn't go into detail as much as it was, and I suppose we didn't really Like we never got the cards, we never got all this stuff, we never got into it as much. So the banter back then, it was more just do your job on the weekend, and then
forget
we'll
forget the online.
Yeah. Yes, and if you do turn out to be great in the game, that means you're doing well for your team.
Exactly right.
That's right.
Yeah,
and at the moment, obviously, we just spoke. You're in Sydney for Celtic. You obviously had the game yesterday against Everton. It was,
Yes,
and bad luck with the loss there. Obviously, I think I overheard you saying, the travelling, it might have took a toll on the players and such. How's that role going as first team coach there?
Well, first and foremost about the game yesterday, we're disappointed. I mean, we had enough chances to win the game. We played exactly how we wanted to play. We were high pressing, quick restarts, dominated the game, creating chances, and we were unlucky. And unfortunately, it went to penalties, and anything can happen in penalties, which we've seen many times.
Yep.
So the manager was happy with the players' performance, because our performance in the first game against Sydney wasn't good, but then that was due to just turning up into Sydney. And you know what? In a way, it made me smile, because we, as Australians, get a lot of stick, because when we come back and we play our games and then we come back again, everyone goes, "Oh, it's not that hard. You fly business class and that." So it was nice to give our players that little taste of what it's like to be an Australian just for like 2 games.
Yeah.
And there's no such things as friendlies, but when we do come back, they're usually qualifiers.
Yeah.
And say, like, for example, like Aaron Moy, and he travels from Scotland all the way there, and he's got to come back. Tommy Rogic did it, Aziz, Beige, Jackson Irvine. So it takes its toll. So I take my hat off to them that they can actually go out there and perform at their highest level. Now, we just needed a few extra days, because our performance on Sunday was excellent.
Yep.
So very, very happy with how the players have kind of taken to the task, but then now we're heading back to Glasgow to have a couple of days off, and then we start again.
Well, I mean, we can empathise with that. I reckon there was probably half the population of Melbourne that went to Europe this summer, all our mates and everything, and
Instagram was popping. That's for
and
sure.
they told us all about the flight and the travel. I reckon that was half the story, the travel to and from Europe. So it is a hike. So we can only imagine the toll that takes on the
and
players.
to go down in penalties is tough as well.
Yeah.
And when we think penalties, Arch, what do we think of?
Aloisi.
The Aloisi goal. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it, Harry. You were there. You were there that night. There was obviously what they talk about, the perfect pass that you were involved in.
But
from looking at it, mate, it was far from perfect. We know that.
Well, depends how you define perfect.
That's true. That's true.
It wasn't ideal, but it came off. I mean, I flick back and I look at that moment of how we worked together, and when I came on and I went down the left and I did a little trick, and then I drove inside, and like I said, I was looking for the pass came to me, and like I said, I think it was just because I'd come straight on, and I was disappointed that I actually didn't hit the target, but like any good midfielder like Bresciano was, he was always in the box. And to be able to take up any little snippet, because even if I would have hit it, he would have followed in, keeper fumbles it, and maybe he would have got a tap in, but he was there in that area, and it just fell to him, and like I said, it was a great finish. And that put us then against a good team, I thought, with Uruguay. And I thought then they started to back down. And it was just a shame that it took us to penalties, because I felt we did enough to maybe nick that game. But again, we talk about Aloisi, but for me, I think it was Schwarzer, because he himself huge.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't get the credit, I don't think. He doesn't get talked about enough. Like, he's in that highlight reel, but
no one talks about the other 4 penalties. But everyone talks about
I'm assuming
you don't actually get to John's penalty without getting the 4th one.
I'm assuming you were one of the 4, Harry.
And the first one. So the 5th one, gets all the limelight and gets all the celebrations. Oh my God, he's the one that put us in there. But you don't get that if you don't get all the other ones. But then you don't get that help.
Yeah, that's right.
The keeper. And Schwarzer was immense that night. Immense.
Well, when we did that moment, because we did our thing with the Aloisi moment.
Yeah, we did.
And we were watching the whole thing. How can we make this the best possible video for everyone to relive this moment? And we were watching Schwartz's save. I think he saved a couple, and we're like, Okay, we've got to get those.
Schwarzer was included.
We've got to get those in the
Schwarzer.
start and tell the full story and not just show the penalty. Let's show the save beforehand, which led to that.
Yep.
And obviously yourself as well. Like those 4, it doesn't happen without those 4 penalties. Obviously, Aloisi was the last one to shoot. Who decides who takes the last? Who takes the last one? How do you decide that?
See, it's different. So in a penalty take, in a penalty in situation like that, I prefer to get my best penalties first.
Yep.
I want my best penalty takers, and that's just how I do it, because I think you need to get up to a good start, because if every time you score, you're adding pressure.
Yeah.
Now, if you miss the first one, the pressure builds so much.
You just need to lock in those first 2.
For me, the hardest, I know they talk about because it's the final one, but I always think that, and we've seen it where it goes to 5-ball, and yes, the pressure does come onto the last ones, but you have to get off to a good start on a penalty. If you don't get off to a good start, it just gives so much favour. I think that the percentages of, if you miss your first one, it goes up to like 80% for the opposition.
Yeah, and
they just feel like, whoa, we've got an opportunity.
Yeah.
Here. But when you stick your first one away, they think, well, we must score. We have to score, otherwise they could go 2 up.
Yeah.
So I always believe the first one's the most important one.
And what did it do for the team when Schwarzer nailed those saves? Like, what does it do for morale and belief and the whole feeling around the team in that stadium when your goalkeeper's just clutched up with a couple massive saves? What does it do?
Well, everyone's different. Everyone's different. So even for me, I won't go and cheer and all this, because it could just turn like that.
Yeah.
And then, you look, so you've got to be composed. I like to just sit there and just wait, and I've been in some pretty intense penalty shootouts, and I just, you give a little yes. You give that little, but you can't get carried away, because your player's got to come up now, and we've got an advantage to go out there and do it. I think what was it? We went 2, I think they saved 1, and then Verduk's missed. Yeah. And then I think we got our next 2. So it was tough. It was tough, but you have to control yourself. And by the end of that game, anyway, I was exhausted anyway. So I couldn't do anything that much.
On that note as well, I think I saw a photo of when Aloisi kicked the goal and everyone was rushing in, and you just sort of stood back and just.
No, I love that picture. I'm not going to lie. That's one of my favorite pictures of all time.
Yeah.
Is that hung up on the wall somewhere at home?
No, it's not. It's just stuck in here.
Okay.
But there is a picture somewhere. But I that moment for me is like when you see that team, they're all running down and they've got their heads down.
Yeah.
I actually look up and I see the crowd.
Yep.
I'm looking at the crowd, and it was a sight that I'd never forget.
Now, obviously, World Cup fever is very much apparent, Harry, and obviously you're in Australia at the moment with Celtic. You're flying to Doha tomorrow, you said. Is it easy to shift that focus from Celtic to then, the Socceroos and the World Cup atmosphere? Is it easy?
Yeah. And I mean, in a way, I'm still, instead of just being on the pitch, I'm still focusing on football. The only thing that's really changed is the names. But I know quite a lot of the names, and I've played with a lot of the Australian boys anyway, so I know a lot of them. So again, and I'm there commentating with SBS, and it's just giving my insight to what I see and how I see a game being played. Am I nervous? Of course I'm nervous.
Yep.
Because it's something that, everyone's going to be listening to.
Yep.
And I love talking about the game anyway. So I am going to be nervous, but I'm excited as well. So it does take me away from the ins and outs of going on the training park and, putting in session plans and creating ideas. I can sit back now and just watch football and give my opinion. And that's what I'm looking for, but it's still going to be tough.
Is that something you've thought about? Maybe if you move on from coaching, going into the commentary box and offering your insight and your knowledge and focusing, taking that more of a back step and just putting your knowledge on what you see and that change of atmosphere?
You let me know how good I am first and foremost.
We'll be the judge of that.
If you rip me off and you take the mick, then maybe not.
It might be a short stint.
Maybe a short stint. So, but if it's good, then maybe. I don't know. Because like I said, I think when you get good commentators, and I think they've changed over the years, and when you get a good commentator that can call a game, it's nice to watch because there's not a lot of people now because people talk too much in it and they just want to watch the game.
Yeah.
But if you can get that little bit of insight on maybe because the one thing is when someone commentates on a game, right? That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, that opinion in that player at that moment could be completely different.
Yeah.
And people turn around and the one thing I don't like is when people go, "Oh, you should have done this." Well, like, you've been in that situation, and you know for the fact that was impossible. But you're trying to create a scene or an environment that was never going to be there, and I don't like that. So I try to call the game because I've been practicing. I try to call the game how I see it, but I like to give confidence and I like to bring out the positive side of it.
Now, Harry, will you be taking any part, alongside commentating? Will you be taking any part in the Socceroo camp at all?
I've been offered to come in. I've just got offered to go in for a pre-match before the France game. For a minute.
Bit of a pep talk, or?
But I'm working, so I've got to prepare myself. So maybe I can go in there on an off day and say hello and all that. But like I said, I've had my time. This is not about me. This is about me going over there watching, the Australian team being the best that they can be. So I think it's we have to stop thinking about everything else and just let's give the confidence to these boys. It's going to be hard for them. They're playing the world champions in their opening game. And we know that Benzema's been ruled out. We know that there's, bad kind of air in the moment in the French team. They're a team that can play unbelievable, but they're all
they're cracks,
world-class players, right? But they could be a car crash as well. So we have to just sit there and, like any Aussies, we love a fight and we like to. And I said this last night. I said, there's no point going into a ring and just boxing a normal person. You want to go in there and box against the champion.
We're
playing against the champions.
Exactly.
We've got a chance to knock them out. Like, how often do you get a chance to step in a ring and knock a champion out? Very rarely. Well, we've got a good opportunity to do that. So I hope we go there and we actually have a good slog fest and we
have a crack.
Yeah, that's it. And you never know. It could be we could be Rocky Balboa.
That's right.
Rocky 2.
And I think that's why the Aussies tune in, because very rarely are we on the world stage tipped as the winners.
Especially
we've never been. I think we had a period in 2006 where we were all playing really well, where we were favourites.
Yeah.
And I think we all sit there and we're favourites today. Usually we're the underdogs.
Yeah.
And we like that.
Yeah, we absolutely love it.
Yeah, and quickly, I want to touch on a bit of your career, Harry. I was playing cricket the other day, and we were sitting in the locker rooms, and it was getting rained out, so we had time in the locker rooms just to chat about what was up with the week. And I'm like, yeah, look, I think I've got an interview with Harry Kewell this week, lads. And they're like, Harry Kewell? My God. And mind you, I'm playing with middle-aged men, 50-year-olds, 40-year-olds, the lot, and they just said he could do everything, and they just kept chatting about you, like that you're really sort of stuck in their minds when it comes to Aussie Socceroo spirit and all that. And they said they couldn't stop raving about your left boot.
What was it? Was it the speed? Was it the left boot? Was it the hair? What was it that made you a good player?
What made me a good player?
Was it the work ethic? Like, was there something that separated you from everyone else?
People always turned around and, said, oh, you had great speed, you had great skill, you had this. I always thought I was an average player. But the one thing I had was the opponent that I faced was never going to beat me. Like, that's the attitude I had. It was like, if you're going to run 100 meters, I'm going to run 110. If you're going to run 200, I'm going to run 210. You're going to do this 20 times, I'm going to do it 25 times. If I'm going to run, I never would let my defender know exactly what I'm doing. So if I received the ball straight away on the left-hand side and he gave me space, I would cross the ball in, right? So then I've got to get nice and tight with it. So as soon as he come nice and tight, I'd push the ball down the line. And then I'd use my pace to get past him. Then all of a sudden he's thinking, okay, if I get too close to him, he pushes the ball past me. If I stay away from him, he crosses the ball. Then I've got to get that half and half. So then as soon as he comes half and half, I'll drive inside. Then he goes, oh, damn, if I come in half and half, he drives inside. If I come too close. And then when you start getting defenders thinking like that, they just don't know what they're doing. And then that's when they come in, they just come and tackle you and they get a yellow card. And then they're all over the place. And that's when you have them in your pocket. So I was a thinker in the game. So I used to always think, I used to be able to, when I played in certain teams, when I played with certain managers, that allowed me to kind of drift around, like, because I had a lot of man markers in my game. So I would have a man marker, and then I'd be looking at him going, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I've got to mark you." That's how so I'd end up going marking someone else. So I would mark someone. So there'll be two people marking me.
Is marking like someone's on you for the game? Like,
yeah.
Like in footy, we get tagged, and honestly, I enjoy it when someone tags me.
Literally to the point where you could walk off the pitch and they'd still follow you. I remember one game that someone was following me that much. I actually stood on the 18-yard box, and he was keeping everyone on side. Yeah. I can't do this. So he ended up moving up. But no, I would think about it. Then I would move into an area into the midfield, and I would say to my player, "Well, this guy's staying on me. Right? I'll mark your man. So there's two people marking me. Then you're free."
Yeah.
So then I would let him be free, and then he would get a lot of the joy, and then they have to figure it out. So I was a thinking player. That's the best way for me to do it, and a hard worker.
Now, Harry, if I want to talk about being a Socceroo and what it's like to play for your country. I know you're in a unique position where you could have played for England, and there was something potentially in the works there. Can you explain what happened there, and then digress into why you decided to play for Australia and what it was like to play for your country?
I played in the under-17s World Cup.
Yep.
And which was FIFA regulated. And back in the day, once you had played in a FIFA kind of tournament, that was your country that you chose for. That's, that you represented, which was fine by me. Yeah. I had no problem with it. I was happy with it. But then the rules were slowly starting to change. It was eventually turning into you have to play for your national team, and I had broken into the first team at Leeds. And yes, there was they had asked, they had turned around and said, he says, "Look, are you eligible to play for England?" I said, "Well, I've got a British passport, and that." And they said, "Okay." So they were doing the works. And something came up that they said, "Oh, with the FIFA thing and all that." But as they were dilly-dallying like that, Australia just went lace and offered me my first game against Chile.
Right. Debuted at 17 years old.
And I went, "Oh, of course, I'd love to play for Australia because that's where I'm from."
Yep.
And it was, I loved it, because I think representing your country, it's not a chore, it's a privilege.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not about the money. It's not about you get your money from your club. That's your bread and butter. That's, and if you're playing well for your club, that's the only reason you play for your national team. Yeah. You don't play for your national team if you're not playing for your club. So the only reason you're playing for national is because you're playing good football. And that's how I saw it. So every time we played, and like I said, I wish, the only thing I wish with Australia is that we were more into Asia now than we were back when I played, because coming over and, playing 2 games a year, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then them games would be in the middle of the week where it wasn't even on international break. Now we're part of Asia and we're in the qualifiers, it would have been a lot more fun to qualify and get used to more games and all that. So, because like I said, even my games is not as high as what some of the others are. Yeah. It's just, I started back in 97 where we only played virtually 2 games a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you want to be playing more than that.
Yeah, it's good that we see more games a year. I love it. I'll get up early and watch the Socceroos. It's a spectacle. And just quickly, sorry.
And the good thing is that Asia is actually getting better, so the competition is getting harder.
Yeah,
which is only good for us. Because back in the day we would dominate a lot of the teams, but now we're seeing a shift in it. So that means that we have to now think about how we go about playing our game. We have to come up with different ideas and we have to come up with a different strategy because we don't want to get left behind.
That's right. Hey, quickly, obviously the World Cup, it's here. What's your tip? Who's winning it?
Wow.
It's a big question. Like, there's a lot of teams in contention.
There's a lot of teams.
Yeah, if you can pick one.
Everyone's raving about Brazil. I mean, their forward line's obviously incredible. We just don't know what France can do. The likes of Germany, even Holland, they're starting to pick up. You think Belgium, or are they just that little bit too old now? Did they have their time? Argentina, it's Messi's last one. Is he going to do something? Is Ronaldo and Messi, are they going to end up meeting in the final? Would everyone love to
be insane? Unbelievable.
That would be insane.
final. Imagine that, you know. I mean, I don't think I would like to see that because the loser, I don't know what happened to the loser.
Yeah.
You know, he would just like be heartbroken.
Yeah.
You know, look, I would love to say Australia to nick it up there, but I am going to say I kind of fancy England.
Yeah.
And a lot of people laugh at me when I say that. I don't know. They've just got better and better, and I know the stuff that they're going through, but they have such amazing players.
Yep.
Like literally, and if they can just connect it, I know they talk every year about England team, they just don't connect it right. Maybe they may connect it right this time. Maybe not.
And Harry, I think we've got time for a couple more questions. I know we're restricted with time. I wanted to sneak this one in. And when we were researching on Harry, we knew you were interviewing you, and I looked at a few images. Mate, the hairstyles you could pull off back in the day, a man can only dream. You know what I mean? Me and Archer,
now, huh?
yeah, exactly. Me and Archer in struggle street right now, knowing that we can only pull off a mullet. You know, that's all we can pull off.
I mean, look at him. Harry Kewell, he's 44, and the hair's still as luscious as it was
unbelievable.
when he was 20.
Looking at the photos, I saw blonde tips. I saw a man bun. I saw the short back and sides. I saw the wavy long hair, double man bun, and a fringe. Like the options, man.
Yeah, fringe would have been early on.
Early days.
I started off with the old-fashioned John Farnham hairstyle when I first got over there. Then I went to short back and sides.
Yep.
Then I went to skinhead.
Yep.
Then I virtually went to there's one game and I look like literally I have no hair. I think it was like 4 steps away from Leeds and I've got no hair at all.
Yep.
Then I had blue hair at one stage.
Blue
wow.
Hair. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. Thanks for telling us. I'll find that.
It looked like the blonde tips, but it was at the very first stage and it was blue because I had blue boots.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I had red hair. I had red tips as well because I had red boots.
So you're a fashion over.
I've had the double bun. I've had the single bun. Look, I've had times when we were at Liverpool because there was Milan Baros, Luis Garcia, and myself. We all had long hair.
Yeah.
And I remember we were all about to go out for a game and we're in the bathroom and we're all fixing our hair like this, getting our Alice bands done like this. And I remember Benitez walked in, and Benitez, our manager, he walked in, he just looked at us and went, "Oh my God." They're like, "Oh, yeah."
We wouldn't be seen dead at the football club doing that with the boys.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't get away with it. We wouldn't hear the end of it.
Footballers are like that. I mean, they put aftershave on, they put this, that. They're brushing their teeth now. They're all their hair. They look their socks and they're incredible, and they walk out nice and pretty.
Well, Harry, obviously Australia versus France kicking off this Wednesday morning.
Oh, keen.
I'm excited.
Analysing the group that we've got as well. How do you think? Do you think we're a chance at advancing through, or analysing those other teams?
Look, the one thing people ask is, every team has won their right to be at a World Cup. So, these teams are the best teams at the moment in the world. So, yeah, we do have a chance, Well, again, we just need to take our chances when they fall. I mean, we've played games where we've dominated, right? And then the opposition go up the other end and they have one chance and they score and they win the game. And people go, "Oh my God, that's amazing." But they just took that opportunity. That can happen to us, but we've got to believe. I think the one thing that us as Australians want to see is at least we're trying. We're not just sitting there and we're not just going to go, "Come on, keep hitting this, and we're not going to try something." I would rather lose. Honestly, I'd rather this team lose 4-5-0, but at least they're trying to play something and create something and making us proud. I would not want to see us just getting a 0-0 and it's terrible, and it's a boring game. I want these guys to enjoy it and express themselves because they're good enough to go out there. They deserve it. There's their opportunity to go out there and enjoy and play against the world's best.
Well, I think, the Aussie spirit. I think if there's one team that can do it, it's the Aussies. Our culture, our spirit, the way we go about it, going in as the underdog. There's
we'll all be behind them.
No other country that could do it like us. So I reckon we're on.
Guys, FIFA 23, make sure we're getting that new update. You can, play as Harry Kewell. You can play as all these ex-World Cup heroes.
Play as anyone. Relive the moment. Relive the highlights.
Make sure you get the update. It's free.
Thanks
Harry,
to FIFA for organising this. And Harry, thanks so much for the interview. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Really insightful. Obviously a very, very smart man when it comes to soccer, football, your coaching, your resume. It speaks for
Don't get
itself. And the beautiful hair as well. Oh, we love that. So good. Mate, thanks so much for the chat.
My pleasure.
And, yeah, best of luck for the SBS commentating over there. We'll be analysing thoroughly.
Yep.
You know,
watch out, you might end up on our page.
Yeah.
I'll be coming for you. I'll be coming for you.
Sorry, mate. Thanks so much, mate.
Yeah,
and best of
pleasure.
luck. Best of luck.
Yes.
Mate, if you enjoyed that, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. That was an awesome chat.
It was great. Loved it. Big Harry Kewell.
That's right.
That was an awesome chat.
If you guys are enjoying these like short little interviews,
let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Jump in the comments section. Let us know.
Feedback. We want to know who should we get next. See, who do you want to hear from?
Yeah,
you know?
and we're going to have heaps of other videos coming out soon, guys, as well. So, yeah, thanks for already subbing. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give it a like. And, yeah, we'll see you in the next video.
You.